Yes, guys, good morning. So, today we are going for a chapter number 9, that is the second last chapter of Management Theory and Practice. Today's chapter name is Change Management. So, ninth chapter, not a very big chapter, a small chapter, an easy chapter. So, these are the head points, and we can just go through these head points when we are revising. Attaching this into the PDF note so you can just go through it. Okay, let's start with 9.1, and it says in introduction. In organization, change is all about reviewing and modifying business process, functions, working methods, and so on. Organizational change can be defined as a process wherein an organization optimizes its performance in order to achieve ideal state. In organization, change can take place in response to advancement in technology, rise in competition, consumer demand, modification in political framework, modification in the economic framework. Objectives behind introducing change is to minimize cost, improve organizational performance, and overcome competition. Change management can be beneficial for organization if managed in time effectively. Change management is all about helping people for transition resulting in the process of change. Managing change requires thorough understanding of what driving people towards change, restraining people to change. This restraining, okay. Driving people will positively affect towards change. Restraining will have a negative effect towards change. To manage change effectively, manager or leaders will have to decide the need for change. Decide need for change, make necessary changes, checking if the change is done effectively working, and corrective actions to match the objective. Let's go to 9.2, which says meaning of change management. With an advent globalization, technological advancement, uncertainty in business environment, change is paramount importance for the growth of business organization in long run. Example, organization expands scales of production. New machines and technologies to be introduced. Technology change is must. Change can take place in organization due to sudden changes in consumer preference, rise in competition, change in economic and political factors. Change can be defined as an alteration or modification of making something work better. In other words, Alvin Toffler said, change is not merely necessary to life, it is life. According to John Nesbitt, as a society we have been moving from old to new. In addition, we are still in motion. Caught between the eras, we experience turbulence. According to Stephen Robbins, change is concerned with making things different. Things must be different because they change constantly. It's a process of adjustment and modification of process, structure, strategies, and functions. I repeat, it's a process and adjustment of a modification of process, structure, strategies, and modifications. Adapting to change can help an organization in coping with financial crisis, bridging performance gaps, utilizing strength and understanding its weakness, predicting possible threats and using untapped opportunities. Change areas can be like change in mission, vision, and business strategy to achieve a long-term goal, change in technology to achieve efficiency in reduction of cost, change in human resource to maintain efficient pool of employee, change in management structure to alter authority and responsibility, change in organization culture to alter organization style, values, and beliefs. So there are multiple kinds of change. Change management is equal to sequence of steps taken by the change management team. Change management process is defined under the four heads. One is identifying the process of the demand of change. Second is planning the change. Third is implementing the change. Fourth is following up. Let's go in detail. Identifying force demanding change. Identify the situations that is demanding change. Identifying problem that is demanding change. Identifying places where change is necessary or required in organization. Planning change. A change planned is designed by organization. It decides what kind of change is to be implemented. Best possible way and alternatives of implementation is taken. How to embed the change in organization. How to embed change in and who will embed the change in organization. Okay. Implementation of change. In this step, change is implemented. All the employees and concerned parties are trained and educated or informed about the change. Following up in the last step, it is ensured that the change is working as per plan and getting the desired objective. It is not or if have any problem. If not or if have any problem, it is to be revealed and corrected and re-implemented the same. Remedial measures are taken. So in meaning of change, there are 4 subtopics. The first is objectives of change. Change can be predictable or unpredictable. It can be complex or simple. It can be organization wide or it can be limited to a particular department. Objectives of change are ensure desired results of change is achieved, sustain organization efficiency and productivity, employees are well informed about the change, establish creative and flexible culture, reduce the issues related to the implementation of change, evaluate cost associated with the change implementation. So these are the objectives of change management. Let's go to the forces of change. So there are basically 2 forces of change. Forces of change is equal to causes and reasons of change. The forces are basically classified in 2 formats: internal forces, external forces. Internal forces exist within an organization, generated from within, under the control of organization. Example: change in leadership, implementation of new technology, decline of profitability, change in employee profile, etc. External forces present outside the organization, beyond the control of organization. Example: change in government policies, change in economy, change in competition, cost of raw material changes, technological advancement happens, scarcity of labor happens, social pressure comes up, or there are new legal requirements. So all these things will be forces of change, internal and external. Resistance to change. People always resist to change. People resist to fear the changes because the risk of the fear associated to it. Employees with high power holding fear that they may lose power. James Hunt says, resistance is not an indication that something is wrong with what you are trying to change. It's an indication that something is happening. Sources of resistance to change. So there are basically 2 sources of resistance to change, that are rational sources resistance and emotional resistance. Rational resistance. This time of resistance happens when people do not have enough information on what exactly is going to change and what will be the effect. That's the rational resistance. This type of resistance fade away once the group is educated about all the information and related facts and figures about the change that is going to take place. Emotional resistance. This is related to the psychological problems related to change, such as fear, anxiety, suspicion, insecurity. This type of fear fades away when employees are communicated about the positive outcome of the change. Let's see the reasons of resistance. So reasons of resistance are divided into 7 subparts. Lack of capability, lack of incentives, fear of technological upgradation, fear of salary reduction, uselessness of skill, habit, comfort, and ego defensiveness. Lack of capability. Employee thinks that their capability do not match the requirement of change, so they resist. Lack of incentives. They feel that they will not be getting enough incentives as they used to get now, so they resist change. Fear of technological upgradation, fear of unemployment. They feel that the machinery can replace them. Fear of salary reduction. Change in working hours or less hour means less pay and salary reduction. Uselessness of skill. They feel that their current skill will become useless and they do not know any other skill, so they resist. Habit or comfort. Some employees may be very comfortable with some kind of work or place. They don't look for any change due to the habit of the same thing again and again. Ego defensiveness. When the superior do not take an idea of subordinate, this becomes an ego issue and then they resist the change. So these are the resistance to change and the reasons or sources of resistance to change. Managing resistance. Managing resistance to change, people always okay, this is not resistant, this will be recurrent to embrace the change. They resist in a different ways like poor performance, disinterested, increased absenteeism, shutdowns, and strikes. How they can be managed? Okay, consent of an employee is very important to manage change. So it is an important for organization to know how to manage and resist change. There are many ways, but a few of them are listed like this. So this is managing to resistance to change. Let's say facilitation, education, involvement, negotiation, and training programs. Facilitation. Facilitation means manager works with employees, understand their problem, and help them to recover or overcome. So they facilitate the employees in working. Education. Manager leaders need to educate, inform the employees about the reason to change, benefits to change, and skills required to change. This will clear them about the elements to change. Involvement. Managers and leaders should involve the employees for the implementation of change. Right from the planning to implementation, involvement creates sense of ownership and authority and responsibility. Negotiation. Managers and leaders should be able to discuss with the employees to negotiate about the resistance to come to mutual decision. Training program, point 5. Managers and leaders should keep different kinds of training programs to uplift the skill of the needed to implement the change. So this is how they can manage the change or resistance. Now let's go to the change management and organizational behavior. There are two terms, change management and organizational behavior. It is always confused. They both have their own similarity and differences. Change management concept is a systematic process of dealing with change. Organizational development is an approach to enhance the organizational effectiveness using behavioral science and knowledge. So there are some definitions given here. I'm not going through that. Similarities in change management or organization behavior. Both work for improving performance and efficiency of an organization. Second, sequential order of planned actions and sets and process are done by both. Third, rely on effective leadership and implementation for both. Both means change management and organization behavior. What is the difference? Change management, it's an individual level or a group level. Organization behavior is a whole organization. Second, change management transforms the way the organization thinks. Organization behavior stimulates the change within the organization. Change management focus on cost, quality, and stagnant schedules. Organization behavior depends upon behavioral science, human potential, participation, transfer of skills. Change management deal with issues in organization. Organization management deal with detailed diagnosis to present the problem. Now, change management is a part of an organizational behavior, we can say so. Roles of leadership in change. Most important area of concern in organization. Change may take place at three organization levels: individual level, group level, or organizational level. At each level, leader is responsible to bring the effective change. Change cannot be implemented without leadership. People like to follow path of leaders. Important for leaders to become a role model. Leaders should be willing to accept the change and create the sense of urgency to show their commitment to accept the change. According to AJAVI, a leader should have the following capabilities to manage the change: superhuman determination to make the change happen, persistence, stamina, sufficient mandate that stems people for the personal change, first-rate intelligence. So these are the roles of leader in change management. That's it, the chapter. This is a very short chapter. It's 9.1 to 9.4, and this is where the head points are given. So this is the entire chapter in front of you. Just go through this and you will be completing most of the chapter part. So this is 9th chapter, change management, and tomorrow we'll be going through the 10th chapter, that is management information system, which itself is a complete subject for our SEM1, that is information system for managers. And this is what we are studying about management theory and practice. So chapter number 9, change management, is done. Happy studying, and there is a very less time left for examination. So let's get serious. Have a nice time. Goodbye.